Hi there, it's Sola, and my disembodied voice is coming to you from Bangkok, Thailand, where I'm currently reading a book called Pleasure Activism, The Politics of Feeling Good by Adrienne Maree Brown. I've read this book before, but on a second reread, I'm very reflective about pleasure. Who gets access to it? Why do we not allow ourselves to have access to pleasure? And how can we fill our lives up with the things that give us joy, that make us happy, that keep us our best self? So that's really what this vlog is all about. And in this video, we're going to eat some good food, travel around Bangkok, and talk a little bit about pleasure. Thanks for watching. Audre Lorde once wrote that we have been raised to fear the yes within ourselves. We have been raised to fear our deepest cravings. And so as I was starting off my journey of defining pleasure for myself, I had to ask myself the question, what is actively holding me back from my pleasure? In The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest, she lays out 18 different subconscious commitments you could be struggling with that self-sabotage your success and happiness. Commitments like being afraid to fail, struggling with perfectionism, reaching your upper limit of happiness, or even having an over-attachment to the things you don't actively want anymore. As I was reflecting on my own self-sabotaging behaviors, I found that I resonated with 3 in particular: disorganization, uprooting, and resistance. In other words, I don't prioritize pleasure, I move too fast to appreciate pleasure when it shows up, and I don't think I deserve to receive pleasure with consistency. And I'm sure most of us struggle with self-sabotage behaviors just like this, especially when we've been told our whole lives that pleasure is allotted to a chosen few, that we only deserve pleasure if we work ourselves to death, if we allow others to cross our boundaries, if we make ourselves small enough to fit into the boxes that have been provided to us since birth. And honestly, I don't think there's a better place than Bangkok to learn how to sink into a new pleasure politic. In Thailand in general, I found that the natives care about feeling good. They care about being happy, eating good food, chatting with their neighbors, and leaning into sabai sabai, a Thai phrase which I learned is basically the equivalent of "it's all good here." Now that I've identified my resistance to pleasure, that's led me to 3 commitments I'd like to have during my stay in Bangkok. Prioritize pleasure, slow down, and be okay with things feeling good, all the time. So good. In pleasure activism, we learn that pleasure is not a luxury. It's how we find out what we want and how we build a new world based on bliss. And so knowing that, I still had a tough time as I was reading because I was trying to figure out, how do I define what is pleasure? How do any of us know what feels good at all, especially in a world where we're taught to be so divorced from our own needs and our own cravings? And yet, I was lucky enough to have a full day in Bangkok that really clarified for me what pleasure looks like and feels like. Let's take a look.
I am at a place called Gateway Ekkamai, and I am going to do some shopping today, and I wanted to come to a place that I know has inclusive sizing options. Shopping in Asia as a person who's above a size, I would say maybe 6, is really, really difficult. Like, there's not a lot of options. So I've been trying to look around and find things outside of H&M to wear. I looked online and I saw that Discount Outlet apparently has a lot of size inclusive options. So I am here to go shopping finally and buy some clothes. So I will take you with me. I see it. Discount Outlet, there it is. Let's see what they have going on in here. Okay, so I found maybe 10 things, dresses as well as pants that look really cute. So I'm gonna try on some of the things, see how they look, see how they fit, and check in with you.
When I first read Pleasure Activism, I skimmed through the chapter on fashion because as a young activist, I felt like it wasn't serious enough. I can see how adornment could be worthwhile and even transformational in the fight for liberation and the pursuit of pleasure. I'm learning that fashion is a statement of who we are and what we value, and as I travel, I find myself attracted to florals, jewelry that reminds me of natural elements like forests or bodies of water. If anything, going on this little shopping trip helped me to see how my fashion choices are a statement of my receptivity to pleasure, transformation, and my commitment to living a more intuitive lifestyle going forward. All that being said, fashion is literally just fun also. I love the moment when you find a piece that you really love and you squeal in excitement and your inner child feels awakened and excited. And yeah, as I'm pursuing pleasure, I really want to lean into fashion as a major site.
I'm just kidding. This is the same old dress you've seen me in because I love this dress. I wanted Japanese food today, but I felt bad because I'm in Thailand, so compromise. I'm getting tom yum ramen, and it looks and sounds so good. I'm so excited.
The spiciness, my body is prepared.
Oh my god, it's so good.
This section isn't a case for hedonism, like eating to excess in a way that leads to the opposite of pleasure. However, Thailand has the best and most intentional food I've ever had in my entire life, second only to maybe Japan. Thai cuisine has that perfect balance of sour, sweet, and spicy that just resonates so well with my palate. And I love how mindful people are about portion sizes and how much you're eating and how often you're eating and what you're putting into your body as well. It feels illegal to eat meals this good and this cheap and this beautiful every day, but as I've traveled through Thailand, I've been consistently reminded that eating should be a pleasurable and mindful experience. Learning how to receive beautiful eating experiences has definitely made me appreciate food and the place it plays in my life even more.
Boba ice cream, Taiwanese. Let's try. I just love boba. This is so good. Mango in here.
This one is the butterfly tea. This is the butterfly tea, fresh one and dry one. You can add hot.
It's so good. Strawberry, sweet cinnamon. 변행 가는 제조들을 많아줄 거란 막걸리 줄일 거야. It's never goodbye. 왜 난 앞에서 숨었지? I need my Korean keyboard that I got on Amazon like a million years ago. They said they will come tomorrow. 내일 올고 라고 했어요. They did it right? Yeah. Okay, so if I wanted to say come, that one is ma. If I wanted to say horse, that one is ma. If I wanted to say dog, that one is ma. Whoa. Spending 3 hours studying Korean is fun to me. 저는 보통 아침에 일어나자마자 헬스장에서 가볍게 3분 정도 운동하고 카페에서 주문한 커피를 한 잔 마신 다음에 버스를 타고 회사에 가요. I love learning. This is so fun. There's just something about like learning a language to me that feels so like when we're talking about pleasure, it feels so juicy and delicious and wonderful and erotic to like be able to speak words that like I don't know, it feels like my own private language. Like or the way that I speak Korean when I'm like alone, it feels really special to like have this part of my brain open up and like want to learn something new. 좋아요. So fun.
But before this one, you can see the Black Buddha open free, no pay money.
Black Buddha.
And then
Okay.
you see the marble palace, marble temple Italian designer from Skara.
Okay.
And then it's
Okay. Hello.
ที่สาหายปิดเด้อแจกใส่นายก Black Buddha with export เขาเห็นทั้งสองอย่างนี้มา
Wow, everything is so beautiful. man earlier who you saw pun, he asked me what my religion was. He was like, "Are you Muslim?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Are you Christian?" And I was like, I think so. I'm not sure. And he was like, "Oh, maybe you believe in everything." And I was like, you know, that may just be true. I believe in the pursuit of God in whatever way feels meaningful. And what a pleasure-filled endeavor that is to just seek God wherever you find it. And I'm getting older and realizing that God is like everywhere and in everything. I didn't go to church earlier, but I felt God when I went shopping. I feel God now. He's everywhere. They're everywhere. She's everywhere. Whatever God decides to be. It's good stuff. It says a lot about me that whenever I cross a bridge, like the one I'm about to cross, I think of that moment at the end of Eat, Pray, Love, when Elizabeth Gilbert is taught that phrase in Italian, attraversiamo, let us cross over. Let us cross over as I leave this temple into a new thing, into the pursuit of pleasure, into mindfulness, into peace and serenity, into self-love as well. Gorgeous. I don't think I've ever seen clouds at night. How interesting.
After defining my pleasure, I allowed myself to use everything I'd learned to have a perfect, pleasurable last day in Bangkok.
So, for the first time ever, I got myself flowers. I tossed them and I was like, I want those. But my flight leaves tomorrow. So I think what I'm going to do is eat them for the day and just enjoy them. And then later I'm going to give them to my guest house host. So it'll be a mixture of a gift for me and somebody else, which is like the perfect middle ground. So yes, they're so pretty.
In the spirit of slowing down and deciding to work on whatever feels most intuitive, at the start of my work session, I took a deep breath and I waited until I identified what I'd like to work on first. In this moment, novel writing was the answer rather than Korean or any of my other interests. So that's what I did, and it felt nice to slow down and to make that choice intentionally.
I fell asleep, but I woke up with the idea I needed. I've been noticing that happens like a lot more. Like I'll take a nap and I'll be thinking about like an idea in my head, and then when I wake up I have the answer. Weird. Oh, okay.
During my time in Bangkok, I learned that pleasure is all about allowing yourself to feel good, something that many of us don't do with any consistency. And so finding pleasure in the simple things like sharing a meal with a good friend, leaning into a hobby you love, or slowing down to notice the small moments, these are all ways to create a blissful life. And when you're happy, it creates a better world for everyone. So I want to take these things I've learned with me into my next journey, and I'm excited to see where it all leads. To end with this final quote from the book, pleasure is not one of the spoils of capitalism. It is what our bodies, our human systems are structured for. It is the aliveness and awakening, the gratitude and humility, the joy and celebration of being miraculous.